practice drawing and painting and just trying different things. A lot of gel pen work, gel pen action. So anyways, I thought that I would do more on it, but honestly, I just want to, it's time to move on to other things, and I actually already have moved on, but probably won't do more on the other thing that I moved on to. So, but I'll save the other thing for another day. And so yeah, there it is. And now it's gonna go up on the wall. Okay, and I don't know if I'll show me. It doesn't appear. Oh man, damn it. Alright, it'll just hang up there. And yeah. So I don't know if you saw, but I also played around. This is actually an old shirt, and it's kind of small, as you can see. It's like it clings to my body, and it makes me feel uncomfortable in my aesthetics. And but anyways, it was an old shirt, and it had like some stains on it. So I figured like let's paint. I actually have some paint that you use on clothes that I tried to do a long time ago, and then I just kept the paint, and it's like slowly actually evaporated in the bottles, and so there was very little, but it didn't matter because it was just an experiment anyways, and that's it. Those are my two show and tells of the day. Maybe having a show and tell is gonna be like a thing on this, my beginning show and tell. And now back to leaning way back in my chair. I'm gonna have to figure out a way of doing this, and scrolling and talking and yammering and yapping and whispering into the microphone, and occasionally stopping to drink some coffee or water, whichever I feel is necessary. I kind of don't like holding this microphone, but I don't know that I have a good alternative right now. When I put it down on the desk, I don't end up, it doesn't work well because I have to lean forward, and it's just very difficult. So it's very important for you to know that, but probably best because I noticed that my microphone was picking up a lot of my taps not in a nice way. A lot of me tapping and doing things on the keyboard. I don't know how other people get better sounds, like even like keyboard sounds, because if I have my microphone down on the desk, it picks up the vibrations of me tapping or on the keys or whatever. And I imagine, obviously I imagine what they must do is rig it and have it attached and have it like pointed down. But even then, I would need to rig it to the desk. Do they rig it to something that's not attached to the desk, and that's how they do that? I feel the more I make videos and the more I try to do different things, the more I just feel kind of incompetent. I'm like, all this seems very easy, and somehow I have no idea what I'm doing and no idea what to do. It makes you, at the very least, making videos gives me the understanding that like people that make good videos, like some, I don't know if they took, I don't know how they do it. I see like young people making like really good videos, not like ASMR, like any kind of video. They got good editing abilities, they know how to edit, they know everything. And I'm like, who the F are these people? Yesterday, I was scrolling guys do when I'm doing this. And one of the reasons why I'm drinking so much is that I like hearing whisper sounds, but I hate it when it gets that smacking sound. Like it's anti nice, calming, good. I guess I just have to keep downing bottles of water before I do this, or while I'm doing it, to try and keep that at bay. Someone in the subreddit "Our Life," why don't people live with their parents if that will get them out of debt faster? I think the obvious answer is because in America you don't do that. In America, adults kick their kids out and say good luck, and the adults have no concept of the world as it is now, the debt that you can get into, even when they logically know, they don't understand in a like a really embodied way or something. For a stop comment, not everyone has nice parents. Reply, severely underrated comment. And they said some more stuff, but the next reply, my dad tried to charge me $500 the month I turned 18. This was over 20 years ago, so I got my own apartment for $550. I understand, my parents charge me rent right now, but honestly, and this is they're so weird. They have this belief that if they don't do that, I'll be like a child. I'm back here because I've got the mental health problems, and because for a while, once I figured out the only real way for me to live my life and not just fall into a bit of despair was to basically come here, save up money, and then go travel for a month and then come back. And because I had, when I got back to my parents' house, I had a full-on, multiple year long real breakdown, emotional breakdown, real struggles. But anyways, so, I don't know that this is the greatest situation that I'm in terms of like what's healthy for me, but I do know that so my parents will charge me, like just the other day my mom said you could pay us like $200 or something, but the weird thing is everything that I've ever paid them, and they've been honest and said this to me, it's just they're just gonna give that back if I ever want it and if I ever need it. So they're like using it in some way of making me save, but like I'm hyper saving person anyways. I need to save. Like that's just what I do. So technically I give it to them, but they're holding it. Like if I was the dad that charged $500 a month the month my kid turned 18, I probably would. I would just put it somewhere. And I mean, listen, people are in different situations. Some parents really need that money and don't want someone, or can't afford to have their kid living at home and eating food and not contributing to the expenses. I completely understand that, but I don't think that's what's going on in these comments, of course. There are very disparate views about the appropriateness of this. And I mean in terms of like parents, there are some parents that are like, yeah, at 18, America, at 18, kick the kid out, they fly or they fall and die or whatever, they make it work. And then there are the parents that are like, maybe I don't know, my parents didn't do too much. is it's sunny outside. The last time I looked, it's sunny and raining, which is very South Carolina for you. I don't know if I should go into this. I've been on Aspergers subreddit. Every time I do these videos, I'm always clicking on the subreddit for the Aspergers, and now it's coming up so often. So the title is probably one of my last takes on the lonely posts discourse on here. The lonely posts discourse on here. Women don't owe men anything, and Aspie women don't exist just to comfort autistic men. I hate that this is a constant thing that people say. I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't think that anyone's saying that. Maybe I'm being stupid. Maybe there are guys that are saying that. That being said, in the other end, when someone is dateless, and I don't think it's necessarily their fault. No, it's not women's fault. But I don't think it's theirs either, because personality is framed like this changeable thing, when it's way more hard to change than looks actually. Personality is set through years of lived experiences or lack of. sense it. But I don't think, I mean, I know actually, people haven't sensed it with me throughout my life. They've just been like, you're weird, but they would never think neurodiverse or autistic or anything. When I met my guy and we disclosed on the first date we were autistic, man, where are these people? Where does this person live? We agreed we weren't going to be a couple, just friends with benefits. Man, I think this is, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't even, I'm so bad with people. I can't even imagine just being like, yeah, I guess we'll just, let's be open and honest. And where does this person live? Is this, again, maybe I'm out of touch. I probably am. I hear something like that and I'm just like, just immediately you agreed, oh, we're just gonna fuck. Like, that's just how it worked for you. I don't know that's, I don't know. Okay, alright, I got stuck. I was finally getting better. Okay, well, let me skim. He was convinced that relationships were a source of trauma and pain from his past experiences. How old are you people? He had no savings, couldn't drive, low-paying job. What? Why can't I? What is wrong? We're both in our 50s. I'm so bad at people. I've tried to put myself out there. I've tried to do it. Maybe I'm overly. Maybe I'm that guy that's always going for the girls that are out of his league. Or maybe I'm not going for anyone. There's something deeply wrong with me. I hear this and I just go, it sounds so easy. And apparently, this dude couldn't drive. Had no savings. A drinking problem. Unfit. All sorts of mental issues. What? Mental health issues? Like what? A low-paying job? What? What? I love all that. Okay, I'll just fuck. Who's this guy in Adonis? What did he have? What did he have? Is it just because you're in your 50s? You're like, I don't know, man. Oh man, I don't know. Again, I'm not even skimming. I got too invested. I was finally getting better. My PTSD was in remission. I had finally managed to learn how to handle my GAD. I don't know what that GAD stands for. First time addiction free. Did they meet an addiction? Alcoholics Anonymous. Addiction free and healthy, both in her 50s. I wanted to grow old with someone who was the exact opposite of him. Screw that guy, but I will fuck him. I don't like him. I want to be with someone the exact opposite. Best idea. Friends with benefits. Friends that you have views like autistic women hating autistic men. There's a lot of quotes there. No one owes anyone a relationship, and yes, there are autistic men that don't understand this, but there are autistic women that do the exact same thing. It's just scarier when a man does this because they are physically stronger and society excuses their behaviors away generally. But once again, it's not the whole autistic male community, and it's not right to pit our community members against each other when it sucks for autistic people. Feel free to talk about boundaries and how your feelings are your own responsibility, but try not to feed the aggression because we don't need to distress each other. That was written by a woman, autistic woman, who is married, autistic man, who married an autistic man. Yeah, the problem with loneliness is once you get into it, it's very hard to get out. You get trapped. And then the longer you're in it, the longer you're separated from people. You know, I've described many times my failed attempts at being around people and with people and stuff like that. And I think about, like, maybe if I had friends growing up, maybe if I'd had, I don't know, something that I was somehow missing, that maybe things would be simpler, and maybe I would have that more natural, or more, I would get something, because a lot of things for me, loneliness wise, I was lonely for so long. I get around people and I'm like, what do I get from this, and what can I give to you? And the answer usually is I can't give anything, and I can't seem to get anything, and I just kind of feel blank and bland about a feeling of connection. The only time I've felt a connection is in a romantic sense, and I think that guy probably too. I doubt he has great friendships. I doubt he has a lot of the other stuff going on in his life. So he's hyper obsessed and hyper aware of his lack of romance, and that is the compulsion and the overwhelming need to focus on that one point and figure it out. And the horrible thing, if he's anything like me, he ain't gonna figure it out. You're not gonna figure it out. It's just gonna stay bad forever. And no amount of attempting to be socially engaged and normal will maybe work. Maybe you're just screwed. Maybe you'll have to figure out another way to enjoy life outside of people and outside of the hope for romantic and sexual attachment, and you're screwed. The thing is, and I've seen this happen with incel dudes, is that the longer they go without someone, the more crazy they get, but also the more they feel like they need the upper, like, what to them is the upper echelons of people. So they need, like, some really hot girl, or they discount women that are more available, almost in this weird cycle that keeps them in their own separate isolation. It happened a little bit with me, but it didn't happen. But I see it happen, like, really bad for some guys who are in that kind of mindset. And that's not even guys that, you know, go towards the hating women version of being lonely, being a lonely male. I'm not gonna read this one, but in subreddit Autistic Adults, the title is "How Do I Politely Tell People to Shut Up?" But I did click. I tapped on this post in the gifted subreddit. Gifted people who are doing nothing special. How's it going? It says, alright, so for those gifted folks not doing anything special with their lives and just living a normal life, it could be due to various reasons like lack of opportunities or financial resources, among other issues. So how's everything going for you? What are you doing these days? Are you happy? Feel free to share about yourself. First comment, how do you define something special? Special. I mean, yeah, the reason I clicked on it, I don't think I'm doing it. If for some reason I am gifted, whatever the F that means. I mean, I think generally it just is speaking about intellectually gifted. I feel it's an embarrassing thing to even like, I'm gifted. I'm so smart. I had an assessment at one point that I was trying to get help for working, and I had an assessment, and he did a really quick IQ thing. It wasn't a long thing. It was just certain puzzles and pattern recognition things, and he just said, okay, well, we're done, and he asked me certain questions and stuff, and said we're done, and I left, and I had to talk to someone else who would talk about the assessment with me later. And again, all that he said was, "You're really smart. Do you know that?" And I said, "I've been told that I'm smart, but it's hard to feel smart when your life is failing and you're asking for help to get a job." That was a long time ago, and that was the only guy. Sorry about my voice. That was the only guy that had ever brought up possibly being autistic. Again, back then, autism wasn't seen the way that it's seen now. And I got offended back then, because I was like, dude, what are you saying? Why would you say that I was autistic? How dare you? Obviously, I'm a very neurotypical person who's just struggling right now. But that was it. That's one more thing that my mind goes back to, and like, what the diagnosis was for this 3-hour assessment, psychiatric assessment. And like I said, I've been diagnosed with everything to the point where it doesn't make sense. You're not gonna have this while having this, while having that, while having that, and not having that, and this having this. So at the end, it was something like, he thought I could be, I think it was schizotypal. It's a very specific thing, but schizotypal, from my learning, is sort of centered on the idea of not wanting to be with people and not having a desire for close relationships, which is the opposite of who I am. I struggle to attain it, and so I think that what he was seeing, I believe it was schizotypal. I believe what he was seeing was my autistic outside, and not asking, what do you feel on the inside? What do you want in life? And I already felt very caged, because I didn't know who the dude was, and I didn't know how the assessment, I didn't know what exactly he was assessing, and it just felt really weird. And I just, back then I was extremely socially nervous, and so I perhaps, but again, that's a lot of the problem with therapy. Even the people that are good, all they can rely on are their own observations, unless they spend a ton of time, and unless they see you out in the world. Like someone commented on my channel, and I've been too scared. I'm really scared about commenting on comments, and replying to comments on my channel. And so sometimes I just see the first few is a huge gain for everyone involved. I carry medical stuff, so there's no questioning why I do this. I focus on sports, arts, friendships. That's nice. Good for you. Living with multiple chronic and incurable illnesses really sucks. But I've managed to work it out to where I have enough to live comfortably. All these people are very positive. Like, I'm about to die, but I've got things pretty much figured out and squared away. I'm good. I like these people, at least in this comment section. Okay, your perceived potential, your perspective of where you are in life, how badly this bothers you equals times. Oh my God, they made mathematical equation. Jesus, your perceived in comma what are these called? Brackets. That's not what it's called. Your perceived potential minus your perspective of where you are in life times how badly this bothers you equals how you feel about yourself. I have a lot of potential. I'm hampered by CPTSD and the slew of issues which that comes with being in a functional freeze state. I have two mindsets, lenses that run all day long. My inner critic mindset that I've lived with most of my life. If I looked at my life with that lens, I hate myself. I hate everything I do that isn't towards my goal or towards fixing everything. It's so much stress and anger, rage, despair that it just shuts itself off. It's exactly like a fuse burning out. I feel all of that. And I have a healthier healing mindset that I've adopted recently the past 2 years on my healing journey. I understand why things happen the way they did. There is no would've, should've. There's just this moment. And what I wondered if my hand was showing up. There's just this moment in what I can do to progress, self-advocate, and feel proud of myself. Set small goals. Don't sacrifice long-term health for short-term gains. Constantly mentally praising myself. Pointing out where I'm done, where I'm doing things right. Setting goals that are achievable. Paying 100% attention to these steps that I take forward. The 3 steps I take forward, not the 2 steps that I take back when life forces it on me. Yeah, that's nice. Man, these gifted people are great. I like them. This is way better than the Aspergers people that just yell at each other for good reasons. So, yeah, I really do a lot of that. But anyways, I think that's gonna end it here, but I'm kind of, I've done 3 of these videos now. I've released one of them where this style where I just read Reddit and whisper, and I don't know, just in my mind right now I'm thinking, is this good? Is this working? Does this work? Will anyone want to hear or watch this? When I started this channel, it was obviously for doing ASMR. It was like years and years ago. It makes me weird and sad how long ago I started this. Not sad because, I don't have a big channel or anything, but sad because anytime I think about time passing, I'm just like, damn, it was that long ago I started this. Sort of like, after 10 years, after like the Marvel movie where Thanos comes, the final Avengers movie, when that has its 10-year anniversary, I'm gonna have a fucking anxiety attack. You hear it constantly. When I was 18,